Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Silly Shills show tonight, and I'll be hosting. I am AB Science, and tonight we will be looking at some, well, frankly, really silly stuff. And tonight we've got the usual Shills and our special guest here tonight, who is Astronomy Live. So let's just go quickly around the table and quickly say hi to everyone today. So let's start off with our, well, let's say our time traveler. How are you doing tonight, good sir?
Hey, Marbar. I just want to point out, why do I still have these bloody Vulcan ears? I brought this up before. I am an aeroplane, not a Vulcan.
Vulcan bomber?
No, that raises a good point.
I see.
I have ears because he's logical. Sorry.
Yes.
Well, you see, we haven't removed the Vulcan ears yet because it's not quite time for that yet here in, well, in normal time rather than a weird future land in which you live.
Weird in the future. Sure, we're ruled by a benevolent monkey with robot eyes and some kind of tentacle thingy growing out of each nostril, but still, he's a good guy.
You're in New Zealand. I thought your current ruler was, you know, the guy with the big flaming eye on top of the big tower and with all the orcs and stuff like that.
I fucking hate
What he's trying to fucking talk, bro. Come on.
No, none of that.
No, right. Spaghetti on pizza and Marmite on toast. Those two
precisely. The Dark Lord rules New Zealand. That's clear. I mean, he's brought in that cuisine.
Do you know what? Marmite should be fucking illegal. It's that good.
It is a Class A drug. So, yes. Well, with that, Mr. Monkey, how are you on this fine and glorious evening?
Absolutely fucking buzzing, pal. I'm here, ain't I? With you lot again. And I'll try not to shit on the pool table.
Yeah, that would be very much appreciated. It took us quite a while to clean that off.
I'm sorry, but, you know.
This wound, AB, you
Yeah, right. And then we have Logical Troglodyte. How are you doing? Fine, sir.
We're doing really well, but I find it a bit sacrilegious to be calling Flatter logical. He can't be logical. I'm logical. If he wants to be somebody else, he's just going to have to be Fred, you know. But as far as what's going on in Cave Town, we've been working hard in the background to make a lot of new content. Wanted to tell all of our viewers that we at the Shills here have been working the last 3-ish months to create a lot more programming on this channel, and after the first of the year we're going to be rebranding it the I Network, and the Silly Shill Show will still exist as a show on the network. The I Network is spelled EIE, stands for Education, Information, and Entertainment, and each of us here at the Shills are bringing new programming to the channel. Jeff and I from Steaming Cup of Reason, we've been running the Logic and Reason show on a separate channel for the last few months. We are going to be bringing that over to the network. Our first show broadcast from this channel will be January 5. We will be discussing the scientific method with AB Science and Blue Marble. Blue Marble Science. Yeah, I'm losing my train of thought. But I hope you guys tune in. It'll be a very good show.
That sounds absolutely awesome, mate.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I did not know that we were going to break that rather exciting news tonight. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're going to be doing some great stuff with the channel, and there's lots of really cool things coming on, and you guys will all see that. And yeah, it's going to be great. So who have we got next? Sarcastic Barman, have you finished pulling that pint for me yet?
I have, yes. I've done you an extra large pint. In other words, I just found a jug and poured all the slops into that, and yeah, you can have all them. It's all
slops,
fine.
that basically describes British beer anyway.
Oh, so rude. Luckily, I'm drinking Moretti tonight, so it's all good.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. So how are you doing on this fine and glorious evening?
I'm actually really good. It's been a bloody busy day in the pub. I literally kicked everyone out by 20 odd passes. Like, run to the computer, run to the computer. Had a nice little short ranting drunk video last night about Gavin and Stacey, and I've got a couple of things to work on.
I absolutely love that video, mate.
I was a right laugh doing it. I was like,
I tell you what, I don't think many people on the panel actually get that video.
no, Tatty will get it.
Yeah.
Kiri and a couple of others, but they're not here, obviously. Oh, yeah. Gavin and Stacey for the win.
Yes,
Absolutely.
mate. What a classic, man. What a fucking classic. I loved it, man.
They've had 11 million views on that episode. It's made it the largest view membership on a Christmas Day program this decade.
Do you know what?
Is awesome.
Do you know what? I really, really got some kind of thing for Nessa. I don't know what it is.
You know, I've worked out she's 56.
What?
In the program, Nessa's supposed to be 56. Well, it worked out because they showed that picture. I know we're going slightly off topic. I'll be quick. They showed that picture, and Stacey said, "Oh, I must be 17 in that picture." And Nessa goes, "Well, I was 35 then." So it worked out there's 18 years between them. So that makes Nessa 56 in the program. You're like, Jesus Christ. I mean, Ruth Jones is 53, but still, that's quite funky.
Well, you've paid a little bit too much attention to that show, in my opinion.
Well, it's all the stuff from watching these flurfers cock up. You got to pick up on the small details that they don't understand. So it's just a reflection of that, really, isn't it?
Yeah, fair enough. That pops in. So who have we got in tonight on the producer desks? We've got Tattie-Bogle doing his usual thing, pressing all the buttons and making us all sound and look glorious.
I don't know about that, man. You sound glorious without my help, I have to say. But all right, troops, how's it going? Hope you've all had a decent wee Hogs watch.
I hope that you've got a fantastic selection of stupid videos for us to look at tonight, and frankly, point and laugh.
Oh yes, I've got a couple of absolute belters lined up for you, and if we get through them, I might have one or two in reserve as well, just as a wee surprise.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful stuff. And then we have Aimee Hogan in there as well, who will be looking at the comments. So, Aimee, hello, what's up?
Hello, how are you, AB?
I'm doing pretty well.
Good. Yep, I'm excited for a great show tonight. I want to thank all the people in the chat for coming today, and I also want to thank our guests tonight for coming to Astronomy Live. Thank you so much for coming.
On which note, let's hand over to Astronomy Live. Welcome to the show, and how are you doing on this fine evening?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to seeing what you have to throw at me tonight.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. So what's been going on in your world lately, and what is coming up?
Well, let's see. I went down and saw the latest Atlas V rocket launch with Red's Rhetoric. You might have seen that video on his channel with the launch of the Boeing Starliner.
I watched that
launch. Oh yeah, it was gorgeous, especially in person. Unfortunately, none of our cameras can really do full justice to the view you see even just by eye looking at the rocket launch, especially an evening launch like that or an early morning launch. The rocket lifted off shortly before dawn. There was a little bit of twilight you could see in the east. You could see where the sun was going to come up. And as a result of that meant as the rocket flew higher, it actually hit sunlight. It actually hit the point where it had direct line of sight to the sun as it flew east, because it launches east with the rotation of the Earth. Also to not drop stages over middle of Florida. So the Atlas V lifted off, beautiful early morning launch. Went into sunrise. We could see the exhaust trail lit up by the sun, and that makes for a beautiful, beautiful display. Now I noticed it actually you could tell it took a shallower trajectory to get to orbit, where it pitched over sooner and it took a more shallow trajectory to get into space, get into orbit. Because normally when you have a pre-dawn launch at around that time of an Atlas, the plume is much, much larger because the atmospheric pressure is much, much lower. Because normally the Atlas sort of lofts its second stage in this nearly vertical trajectory until it pitches over fairly late in the launch. As a result of that, the the Centaur upper stage tends to get thrown into this suborbital trajectory where it continues traveling upward for a period of time. And that gives it time to get its motor on and start building up horizontal velocity to get into orbit. Now, that works fine for unmanned payloads, but when you're launching people on a capsule, you need to take into account what happens if the rocket fails, and if you have to come screaming back into the atmosphere. If you did that on a very high trajectory, where imagine you throw a ball straight up in the air, it's going to come straight back down, and that trajectory is too high of an angle to safely re-enter the atmosphere. You'd be exposed to too many G's, and it just wouldn't be good for the capsule for dynamic loading reasons. So as a result of that,
Whoa.
I don't know what that was.
Super chat.
I may have changed the notification for the super chat. Forgot.
Yeah, that was a super
Right.
chat, wasn't it? That was a super chat
Excellent,
from
excellent.
Digital Demonic Davros. Don't make me come in there, Dawson.
Well, Davros,
$2 Australian. Fucking Davros, you rock, pal.
thank
And just
you
while
very
we're here,
much.
we've got a few good
Big
people in the
Dawson,
chat.
oh,
We've
yeah.
got Cheshire Vic, fucking Sarcastic Barman's in the chat. Phil Blacker, rock and roll. Sean G, he's there. I like that bloke. He's fucking sound. Me pet 69. Gary Lowe, Gregor Edder. I'll shut the fuck up now. Ugly German Truths. There's one more. Joseph Grant. Anyone else? And Monochromatic Life Source. And Curve Pimp. Right, I'm out. I'm done. Anyone else want to shout? Anyone else? They can do that. But I've done my bit.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for coming tonight in the chat. Yes, Astronomy Live, before we were completely freaked out by Digital Demonic Davros's super chat, which is very much appreciated. You were saying.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no problem. So I was just saying that the Atlas trajectory normally throws its second stage into this lofted trajectory, which is steeper to getting into orbit than normal because it gives the second stage time to build up horizontal velocity. The Centaur is the second stage to an Atlas rocket, and it's a very tried and true stage, which is why they've stuck with it for so many years. It's very reliable and very, very efficient because I believe it uses hydrolox. It uses hydrogen and oxygen, which burns very efficiently in the vacuum of space. So as it builds up horizontal velocity, normally it uses just one engine. And lofting it with the Atlas V gives it time to build up that horizontal velocity. But when you're launching people, you need to take into account the trajectory you're going to be coming back on if the rocket fails. And if it's too steep, it wouldn't be safe for people. So they deliberately take a shallower trajectory to get into orbit. As a result of that, the Centaur needs more thrust to be able to put its payload into orbit. So they have a 2-engine Centaur that they used for this launch that was kind of unusual. All that worked perfectly fine. That was great to see. The capsule was successfully delivered to the correct initial trajectory, which was actually suborbital on purpose, so that the second stage comes back and burns up in the atmosphere. It doesn't endanger the International Space Station. The capsule was supposed to go rendezvous and dock with the International Space Station as a test, an unmanned test of this new manned design capsule, the Boeing Starliner. Unfortunately, due to a failure with the Starliner itself, where the clock on the capsule was apparently set incorrectly, it apparently needed to communicate with the rocket itself to get the time before the two separated. And somehow, for reasons I don't fully understand yet, that got messed up. And as a result, the clock that it was going on was not correct on the capsule. And it started doing things out of order. And it did not do the burn into its parking orbit and the eventual rendezvous orbit that it was supposed to do. And so they tried to command it from the ground. They had another issue there. My understanding, based on the recent...
That's going to make me shit myself every time.
Every time we talk.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's wonderful. John Rapp, once again, very loyal viewer, comes with a super chat for $5 Australian, saying, "Not so loud, Davros. Mr. Dawson has a hangover. By the way, where did you disappear to, DD?" Yes, I think Dick Dawson, it may be a hangover, or it could be some other things going on, and no one will ever know.
Well, we might know in our little thing, but maybe not.
Yeah,
A call
maybe
for
not.
Horizons in the chat. Is that the channel? That
Yeah,
big
that's
channel?
the ETC channel 1.
Is it? He said, "What an incredible show!" So thanks, pal.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, I am also informed that there may be a little Easter egg or two which are new in our set. So if anyone spots them, give it a shout out. But I think what we are looking at is the time to look at some really silly shit. So, Astronomy Live, how aware are you of solar eclipses and how they all work?
Oh, pretty well aware. I went and visited, or I observed the 20.
Every time you talk,
idea wasn't using that goddamn thing.
Yeah, they're now just paying to bully us, really, isn't it? Yeah. Sir, thank you very much for $2. Just a music emoji. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. But yeah, tonight's show, I think pretty much the theme is eclipses. So before we get into that, Aimee, have we got any exciting comments in the comment section that we want to look at?
Not so far yet. We got the super chats and everything, so I think we're pretty much caught up. So thank you.
Wonderful. So, Tatty, would you like to get cracking with the first video?
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Once again, I make no apologies. Hold on to your hats, folks.
You're an evil bastard, you know that.
Oh, bear with me. Fucking YouTube's playing funny buggers.
No, YouTube has a tendency to do that.
Here we go. Right, try that again. Nope.
You've broken it already.
I think I've broken it already, yeah. Give me 2 seconds, man, till
I thought Kiri wasn't with us tonight.
Head out, pal.
But Kiri's not here. Who are we going to blame?
My hand as we speak.
It doesn't matter if Kiri's here or not. You still blame Kiri. Hashtag Kiri.
Always Kiri's fault.
Always Kiri's fault.
That's the one.
Right. Sorted it
Well,
out. And apologies, YouTube, it wasn't you. Bloody OBS. But hey, here we go, folks. Third time's a charm.
This is Raptor News, and I want you to check out the shadow on the solar eclipse because it is totally unusual and strange. This is no solar eclipse. It is something happening by the sun, and that happened today. And look at that. No solar eclipse go large and small like that. Look at that. The ring of fire is growing and shrinking. Something wrong, huh? It almost looks like a balloon is in the sun being blown.
Oh, I couldn't take it any longer. Jesus Christ. Bad camera work and the lack of a solar filter do not a conspiracy fucking make. Jesus Christ. Just get a solar filter and learn to do exposure. Stop wobbling your camera, buy a tripod. I feel like we're going to repeat this statement several times through this video, but what the fuck? Who cares?
and why the fuck do they use cameras to fucking film these events? Like that, you know, like just the shittest cameras, and then you know they think that's it. But it's like, come on, look at these celestial bodies through a fucking, you know, like telescope or a pair of binoculars, you twat.
So,
So just get the focus right?
Safety tip here: if you want to use a telescope, make sure you use a safe solar filter.
Absolutely.
Same with binoculars. You don't want to go blind.
No, I mean obviously, you don't fucking just use filters, but yeah, I mean, why do they? I'm just talking about. I think general when they look at celestial bodies in general, you know, like the moon, they always film it. It's like, well, no, just look at it through a telescope. Why are you? You know, and then they make stars go out of focus, and they're like, look, yeah, see, it's not what they say what it is. It's like, no, you can see that it's just out of focus, you stupid idiot.
Yeah.
One other thing to look for here, real quick. with this video, I noticed that there is a reflection of the sun as a result of a lens flare or a filter flare. It looks kind of greenish in color, and it's much, much fainter than the sun. If you look at that, to my eye, it looked like the annular, I guess that was from the recent annular eclipse, I'm assuming. It looked like it should. It did not look like it was pulsing like the main image of the sun due to overexposure. So if you look real carefully for that, you might be able to see a much better image of the sun as a result of that reflection within the camera.
Yeah, I mean, you do, in the last kind of partial eclipse we had here in the UK, I couldn't really look at it. I didn't really spend much time. It was on my way to work. But if you hold your phone just right and take a picture, then you have some internal reflections in the aperture, which then get picked up, and then you can actually see the whole shape pop up. And it's, yeah, really quite cool.
That is actually quite awesome.
I do have them. So
the thing is, if you watch this video like a little bit on, he starts talking about it blinking at you and stuff, and you're thinking like, what are we talking about?
Wrong.
Guy's an idiot.
Are we having some more video?
Yeah, let's fucking crack right on with it now, man.
Nice.
On up and then deflate it, huh? See that? Or an alien's head is peeping through the sun, huh? And then it start looking like a spaceship right here, huh? Instead of the sun. And look at the strange glow around the sun, like the sun is in an orange dust cloud. Look at that. Something wrong, huh? Look like a spaceship going through the air instead of the sun, and then this balloon-like shadow is on the inside. Something is wrong.
Okay, so did he just really go? It pretty much just went, I don't know what it is, but it was aliens in it.
I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's definitely fucking aliens.
Yeah, it definitely looked like a partial phase of an eclipse based on the reflection I was seeing there. That you could really see it when the clouds are thicker, and you can see that reflection against the clouds there. The other thing I noticed is that reflection is bouncing all over the place, worse than the camera itself, which suggests that there's some video stabilization going on there, which might be masking some of the resulting effects that it has on the main image of the sun as well, because the camera's actually physically bouncing all over the place, because like you said, it's not being used on a tripod very obviously. It's being handheld rather poorly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's jumping all over the place. It's
just thinking, if we obviously, as Astronomy Live said, if we know it's been filtered in one way to stabilization, do we know what other filters this guy could put this video through to prove his point? Because flat earthers don't have the best track record when it comes to honesty, let's be fair.
Yeah, but if you look at the quality of the video, I doubt that there's much understanding of filters or how to process images. So yeah, I think we're all right.
I don't know. I've seen some flat earthers with some good video skills. It still doesn't mean they're right or anything.
Yeah, they exist, but at least the raw footage is captured in a slightly better way.
True.
Yeah, but they always just use them fucking P900s and P1000s, don't they?
Speaking
of P900s and P1000s, I'm going for a Riley.
We in my glass.
All right. Have you got your glass ready? All right, let's get more of this moron going then, shall we?
Yeah, go for it.
Look at that. No. You can't tell me that's the eclipse. Watch this one. Keep watching. Some fading in and fading out, right? Look at that. Bam. And you see the ball, right? In the middle. That's the sun. That's completely out. But it's going to start blinking at you. The black part in the inside is blinking, folks. The ball is the sun right there. That's the sun that's out in the middle, and it's blinking. So everywhere in the world that this was being filmed, something different was being seen with the sun. Look at that black part blinking. Glitch in the matrix, huh?
Fuck's sakes.
This guy's doing my fucking head in, man. I mean, what is the fucking point to this absolute fucking shit show that he's got going on? This guy's an absolute fucking pillock. I mean, he wouldn't even know about any fucking glitch in any fucking Matrix if it wasn't for the Wachowski brothers, or brother and sister, as I think one of them's changed their name to Lana. Is that correct?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
this fucking cretinous little anus weasel is totally fucking wrapped up in a fantasy world made up by two siblings. I mean, for fuck's sake. What?
He's gone from. He's literally gone from it's aliens to it's Sauron. I mean,
Yeah, that's all part of the world.
Lion King.
But yeah, I mean, it's clear that, you know, and it's just the autofocus just going a bit nutty. That is just very clear.
Not the only thing going fucking nutty in that fucking video.
No, but his voice though, his voice. Come on, you gotta admit that voice is fucking liquid gold.
Fuck, it's liquid something.
Yeah, true. But
I got a feeling it's kind of stuff that Monkey throws around and left on the fucking pool table the other day.
Yes. Yeah, but there was a point around the Matrix as well. It's I am sure that more. I haven't actually watched this video yet, but I am sure that more about that is going to be coming up shortly, right? Am I right in thinking that?
I'm saying
fucking has to.
Oh, right. Let's get to it then.
Oh, before we do, Aimee.
Ah, yes.
Yes, please, if I may. I have some good
I'm
comments.
such a rubbish
here.
MC, aren't I?
No, you're fine. You're doing fine. 9 o'clock hero says, now that guy is gone. Can anyone recommend another great comedy channel, please? And then No Name says, and I thought that Travis was bad with the camera. The plain truth is who he's talking about, and he's really bad. Bad Trip says it happens when the camera is focusing beyond what it is capable of. And Mr. Victory says, oh my God, that idiot is the worst.
Aha.
Oh, and it dropped.
Did we just lose Aimee?
Aimee?
Oh no!
Oh, no, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Oh, yep.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay. So that was the last of the comments. Thank you.
Ah, cool.
Oh, right.
We've got auto exposure issues there too. It's not just the focus; it's the bigger issue is the exposure. And really, the thing you have to keep in mind anytime you're doing astronomy with a standard consumer camera, a standard consumer camera is expecting daylight shots. Its auto exposure function is tuned to expect that the image should be properly exposed evenly, right? That it's not expecting a black sky with a very little small circle of light and then more black in the middle. It's not looking for that. So it tends to naturally overexpose things, including total solar eclipses. And so you see that quite often. That's why when you take photography of a total solar eclipse, like I did in 2017, you can come check out the video on my channel. I set the camera exposures manually. I programmed it to do a certain type of exposure manually because I knew what I was going for. If you set it to auto expose like it looked like that footage did, you're going to get an overblown sun. You won't even see the moon in the middle. And so the auto exposure is going to keep fighting you. You might be able to fix it a bit by zooming in and seeing more of the corona, which will help it basically expose for the corona. But even then, it's going to be fighting you, and that causes the blinking that you see. You also see some interlacing there, probably from the type of camera being used and the it was set to. And so as you're moving the camera around again, it's not stably mounted. You're going to get artifacts from interlacing that can produce a bit of a blinking effect as well.
Absolutely right. Yeah. Wonderful.
Cool. No.
Right. It's good to have someone who knows this much about this sort of thing on tonight.
It is. My focus crap, I'm paying so much attention here. I'm writing notes.
Writing notes, yeah, same here actually.
We can play this back. So I've written things down. I'm like, oh yeah, it's YouTube. I can rewind and just play it later.
Absolutely. All right, so let's move on with that lunacy.
It's a glitch in the damn matrix, man. Look at this, man. Unusual. Check this out. Look carefully. What you see? Keep watching. Right there. A rectangle just passed, and you can see the planet, shadow, and everything else when the rectangle passed. Look at it. I keep playing it over and over again. A rectangle just passed in front of the sun, or the sun seemed like it went through some vortex or something. Look at that. And you can still see the planet in front of the sun, right? That strange shadow as this, whatever that was, it just passed in front of the sun looking like a rectangle. Check this out. You're gonna see the planet pass by the sun right there. You saw it? Saw it again? I'm gonna keep playing it. You seen it? And then you see that rectangle in front of the sun as the planet is passing by. Look at that. So multiple things is happening all at one time around the sun during this eclipse.
This guy's taking more drugs than I've taken alcohol. Oh, what are we going to go for? Are we going to say for his filter, his sensor on his camera having a hissy fit, a cloud, or on that last little bit that he's either sped it up or dragged the phone or camera across the sky as quick as possible just to try and get the fucking image in or something daft?
No, that last one looked like a time lapse to me. That looked like a time lapse video with the sun moving across the sky in an untracked mount, so a tripod or something. The other shot looked like a power line. It looked like what happens when you have a power line between you and, say, the sun. Because the power line is directly between you and the sun, it's not going to be illuminated. It's not necessarily going to show up in the video like you would expect, but it will show up as a shadow across the sun as the sun crosses in front of it. So it might have been something like that.
I didn't think of a power line.
Yeah, that seems to be making most sense, but the shadow of the Earth? What?
Yeah, he doesn't know what causes eclipses, which is, of course, the moon.
Yeah, but I mean, are we assuming that he's a flat earther here? You know, is that a flat rectangular shadow from the Earth? What is casting the shadow? What's happening?
He doesn't come across as a flat earther because he's at least calling them planets, and he's not saying anything else. He's just saying that it seems to either be there's something in the Matrix or something we don't know about. He could be a Nibiru follower or something like that. I've only, because I put this video into the recommendations, it's the only one of his videos I've watched. But it just came up in one of the Flat Earth Facebook groups, and I thought, oh, this looks like it could be fun. So I thought, yeah, as the eclipse was only, 2 days ago or so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, can I just quickly read a comment? Doorknob head. He comes
Absolutely.
across as a weed enthusiast. Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Very green finger.
Yeah, not in a good way, in a bad way.
Comes across as a type of person that tries to sniff rocks at the river.
Oh, terrible.
Don't ask me what that means, but that's what he is.
It sounds wrong. I just have this image of someone crawling down a river, smelling the rocks, trying to find out which one he can eat.
All right.
Fuck you.
Shall we Graham
Video
Price, I'm a
time,
weird
video
enthusiast.
time.
I don't come out with nonsense like that. Yeah, that yeah, in fairness.
Yeah, that's why I said in a bad way, Graham, not in a normal sort of person way. This is the sort of person who probably just eats it, smokes it, wipes his butt with it.
Yeah, it's the kind of person who eats it, bakes up in a brownie, eats it, and doesn't realize that you should really wait for about 20 minutes before taking your next one.
I can never wait when eating brownies. Anyway, we're getting off track. Bring it back to
Yes.
I
video.
was going to to say he comes across as the type of person that thinks his allegedly Dave could be added to his brownies to make him better.
Oh no, nasty. Right, that's it. Video's going back on.
I'm just taking the piss now.
Yeah, Tattoo's intervening.
Yeah.
Video's back on.
Video time.
System is passing, people. Check this out. Keep watching the sun, man. A planet is going to pass right there. See that pink little planet passing? See it? I'm going to keep playing it. That's a pink planet passing right there by the sun. Now watch, all kind of plasma activity is going to happen right now as soon as that go past. And that's why the shadow was going big and all that. As soon as that planet passed, it caused some kind of outburst with the sun, man. And everything tripped out right there. All kind of plasma and everything else. While these dumb people watching and clapping and everything else, and God then blinded all of their wicked asses. They can't see shit, man. But something happened right there, huh? And you clearly see it. Look at this. Look at the shadow. That's the sun, and that's the shadow. Come on, what's that little part at the end that's closing up? I'm gonna keep showing it closing up. Look. What's that? Somebody tell me what that is. The tail of the planet. Watch this. Keep watching this sun finna freak out, man. Like I said, when that planet passed in the other video, the sun freaked out. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. And then it's like an explosion gonna happen. Watch. Look at that. When that planet passed by, like it freaked out, and then all that plasma rays was coming to the earth. Look at that. And then rain came out of nowhere. And
where to start here? So earlier in the video, there were obviously clouds going over the sun. I couldn't even quite tell what he was trying to point out at that point. I'm guessing he's just confused about how sunlight diffuses through clouds. And then we go again back to the overexposed sun with the moon passing in front of it, from what apparently was a partial phase to some other phase. But it's hard to say exactly what's going on because the sun is so incredibly overexposed in that video. This just it pains me as an astrophotographer, as an astrophotographer and as an astrophotography aficionado to see that and be like, oh, you should have turned down the exposure there. It's like you obviously go to great effort to see one of these events, especially if you're in the path of totality or angularity, and then for you to have your camera set wrong like that, it's a cringe moment for me personally. So it had nothing to do with the sun being weird. It had everything to do with the exposure being weird or incorrect. And you can kind of simulate this yourself if you have a telescope and you pointed at Venus during one of Venus's crescent phases. If you overcrank the exposure, you'll get a very similar effect, to the point that if you overcrank it enough, it'll look like Venus is totally full, just because it's so overexposed. It's just a big ball of light. You won't even be able to see a shape anymore. And so you're at one of those medium phases there where you've overexposed enough that you can no longer distinguish the shape clearly, but enough that you can tell something's blocking part of the sun, the moon, during the eclipse, but you don't have a really clear resolution of the actual phase of the eclipse there. So you've got that. Then in the final shot, a wide angle shot of the sun. And of course, when you hit totality, the amount of light coming from the sun drops tremendously, because the only light reaching at that point is light from the corona, which is much, much dimmer than even the smallest speck of sunlight still peeking through from behind the moon. And so when you go from 99% eclipsed to 100% eclipsed, it's like somebody turned down a dimmer switch on the sun. It's amazing to see in person. It's like within seconds, it goes from still having enough light to clearly see, and it's almost like daytime, or at least approaching twilight, to suddenly it's almost nightfall. And to see that rapid transition, that's what it looks like in a camera. Add to that, you have compression artifacts there, and another super chat there. I don't know if you guys want to read that out, but yeah, just to finish up.
I'll finish up, man.
Artifacts.
You finish Astronomy Live, because that was really interesting. I'm like taking notes again.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, you've got, when you've got a sudden change in the image, that's when you're going to see the most of the compression artifact effect in the image, because the way most video compression works, it's based on only updating the frames with what has changed during the frame to frame part of the video. So when you have high levels of compression, it doesn't update fully properly when you have a sudden shift in what's contained within the image. And so when you have a rapid change in the brightness of the sun due to totality hitting, you have a higher likelihood of seeing compression artifacts, which is what that appeared to show there when it went from, partial to totality or angularity, whatever it was. You have this sudden change in the brightness of the sun, and you have compression artifacts as the video tries to update and catch up to what happened. So that's, I think, some of what he was trying to point out, claiming that it was the sun exploding. And honestly, it's I guess it's not unexpected, but it is a bit irritating to hear him refer to all of us who have seen an eclipse in person and have not seen that happen by eye as idiots who just didn't notice the fact the sun exploded or then unexploded and then re-exploded.
Yeah, no one who had their camera set right in the world who was in the path saw that happen. It's only these few clips where people can't set their cameras properly or don't have the right filters or any number of things. They're the ones that seem to say, yes, look, it's all wrong. It's sun exploding farts and things. No, just no. Learn to camera. This is why I don't take many photos, because I can't camera. At least I know I can't. So, yeah. But yeah, I'll quickly read that super chat now. But Helmet, fuck's sake, Helmet. Dutch kroners. What's DKK?
Danish kroner.
Yep.
Danish kroner. Very sorry.
Not Dutch.
Whatever. I don't know. 50 of those. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Remember, every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. In which case, Team Skeptics has made many, many fucking angel wings.
Well played. Aimee might have some chats as well.
I think there are.
Yes, I do. Please, I have some really good ones. Okay, Stupid Monkey says, "Help us all! It's a rectangular vortex. Save us." Billionator says, "That's your fucking shutter, you moron." 9 o'clock. Oh, my son just gave me, just reprimanded me. 9 o'clock hero says, "Lessons on how to bugger your camera." MePet69 says, "If they are all so sure they're in the Matrix, can we pull the plug?" Billionator says, "Damn cores are getting loose again." And then Mr. Victory says, "What the Pink Planet seriously is, he's taken too much Pepto. And this is one crazy nut that no squirrel wants."
Yeah.
And that's the end of them so far. Thanks.
Great comments. We do love our comments here. Especially when you as much as some of these do.
All right. So has anyone in the audience spotted the Easter eggs yet?
Oh, I spotted one earlier. I haven't seen another one since.
There's been 2 so far. And
Not a wee bit early for Easter.
no, it's never too early for chocolate.
No, because Cadbury's cream eggs are on sale in the Llandudno Boots store. Fucking Cadbury's cream eggs. I couldn't fucking believe it.
Yeah, there are a few days.
Needs to be Whittaker's.
What the fuck are Whittaker's?
Whittaker's would be the Kiwi brand, the bitter brand, the proper brand, the one that tastes best with your Marmite.
Nice. I'm going to do a very quick thing in the chat. If you've heard of Cadbury's, press 1. If you've heard of Whittaker's, press 2. And I think there's going to be no more number 1s than 2.
I'm just glad there's another monkey.
God damn it, Chris! It was 1 or 2.
Anyway,
this is a Marmite-eating monkey.
You do love your monkey Marmite, don't you, monkey? Monkey Marmite?
Fucking oath, man.
Oh my god, the chat's gone mad. Anyway,
dildo.
Video. Are we going to do the last 20 seconds? Or can we leave the bad cameraman alone?
God damn it, Glover Bum. That's my stick.
I don't know. What do you reckon? Last 20 seconds, folks?
Yeah, why not?
Let him finish will be nice.
That's what she said.
California. Rain just came out of nowhere. I mean, it wasn't predicted, man. Just a storm came in. Something is wrong, folks. That was no solar eclipse. This is Raptor News.
Yeah,
sure.
something is definitely wrong. I completely agree. It is called understanding how to work a camera.
I love the fact that something is wrong. It wasn't a solar eclipse. What was it then? I don't know, but it wasn't that.
I don't know what it is, but it was aliens and pink planets just coming to make everything fabulous.
Yeah, this guy's a fucking idiot. He ain't got a clue what's coming out of his fucking mouth.
No,
honestly.
But no, today on the Quest channel, it was a marathon of underwater aliens. Do we think it's aliens? Then another alien program, then another UFO program. And after about the third one, I was like, my brain's coming out my ears.
Yeah, they love them, don't they? They do the alien nights, you know, Thursday night, the alien night, and it's just back-to-back fucking bollocks.
Yeah, the only ones that were interesting, and it was more interesting than this guy's overexposed, underexposed, and everything else freaking video, was the underwater ones where they're like, well, we've picked up this object. This is the release stuff from the Russian Navy or whatever, because they don't know what it is. Which I think, yeah, that's probably fake anyway, but at least it sounds interesting.
Yeah. No, it just fucking goes over my head. I'm just like, oh, I can't be arsed for this shit. It's fucking toilet. Mr. Victory, 20 fucking US dollars. Thank you very much. Because something is wrong, so I'm making it right. Tell him to learn how to say no. People will. No.
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 Oh.
Oh, gotta love the jailhead, man.
Yeah.
Have we got any final thoughts on that masterpiece of videography?
One final thing.
That's all I've got.
One final thought is just, if you are going to see an eclipse, especially a total eclipse or an annular eclipse, something like that, and you're going to great effort to do it, and you don't have a great deal of experience doing astrophotography, please just observe the eclipse. Just enjoy the experience of watching it. See if you can get, a safe solar telescope to observe it, but don't try to take pictures if you don't know what you're doing. And I'm not saying that to denigrate anyone, but honestly, if you don't have years of experience doing it, it's very tricky to do correctly, to do well. And you're better off just honestly sitting back and enjoying and taking in the experience. That's a more valuable use of your time during totality or annularity, which only lasts a couple minutes anyway. So enjoy your time, enjoy the experience. That's my recommendation.
Yeah, I mean that's the same idea I've got with it's the same idea as you're at a gig and everyone's holding up their phones to film it, and they're spending so much of their attention trying to make sure that the stage is always in frame and all of that. You're not enjoying the gig.
But, I say that about anything that you look at. I mean, get a telescope and just look at Saturn, Jupiter. Amazing. Absolutely fucking mind-blowing. Just look at it. There it is. Saturn clearly fucking looks like a sphere with the shadow of the rings. It can't be any other shape. I mean, come on, you stupid, dumb, flat fucktards. What's wrong with you lot? Get a fucking grip on reality. It's not hard to fucking work out where you fucking live. You're standing on the fucking planet. Work it out, you fucking idiots. Sorry, did I say that out loud? Keep doing that.
You may have done.
Yeah.
All right, so shall we leave? I think someone in the comments called him Barry Shite. I think that sounds about right. Shall we leave him behind? And yes, unless we've got anything else, shall we move on to the next video? I think I hear on the grapevine that this is an old channel friend of ours. I think some of you may be familiar with this chap called Nick.
Oh, yes.
Nah, you probably have never heard of him, but Tatty, roll it.
Oh, allow me the pleasure.
Hello, Flat Earth researchers, debaters, and debunkers. It's Christmas Day 2019, and tomorrow, the 26th of December, we'll be able to...
Oh, jeez, that fucking intro. Fuck. I am glad I left my fucking axe behind, otherwise my screen would be fucking wearing it.
At least we haven't got DeadKennedyInSpace here to really freak us out. But
oh god, yeah, he just very spot-on impression. It's like, oh dear.
Hello, Flat Earth debaters and debunkers.
Yours is quite good.
All right. Anyway, let's move on with this.
Oh god,
My pleasure.
See a solar eclipse from here in Phuket at around noon local time, which is about 5 a.m. UTC. So I do hope to do a live broadcast of the eclipse. I hope you can join me for that. It should be quite spectacular, as you can see from this map on time.
Yes, what, you'll hope that we can join you for it so that you can just fucking bullshit your fucking ass off and make up some fucking wank that makes absolutely no fucking sense whatsoever, but you think you're explaining reality. Well, let me tell you something, you stupid, dumb fuckwit word, whatever the fucking you call yourself, you fucking dumb idiot. You don't know shit. You either lying your fucking ass off or you're a stupid fucking idiot. Which one is it?
A little bit of column A and a little bit of column B, to be honest.
I think it's a lot of both columns. Don't forget, he's tall, isn't he?
Oh, he is. Well, I don't know if he's actually tall, but he's referred to as Gigantor because of the weird camera angle at some point. He may be a lanky fucker. I don't know.
You're just
penis, that's for certain.
Then you still get to be the tallest person in the community.
He loves it.
He does. Anyway, we're getting off topic.
That's not like us. Never happens in a show.
Punchy's a fucking lanky fucker, he's just said in the chat. Well, I'm very fucking proud of you. What do you want, a fucking chocolate watch?
Let's get back to the video and see what he's actually...
Yeah, put a fucking video on, Tatty. I'm getting wound up.
Cool. Here it comes.
Date.com. Phuket in southern Thailand is just north of the central shadow that will be cast by this sun-moon alignment. So I want to address a couple of things in this precursory video before tomorrow's live coverage of the solar eclipse. First of all, we have often this claim from anti-flat earthers or proponents of the globe and the heliocentric model that the heliocentric model is the only way that you can predict eclipses. This is an outright lie, basically, and it's quite ignorant because throughout the history of tracking the sun and the moon to make these predictions for whether it's been hundreds or thousands of years, no one has ever had to assume that we're on the globe. They've never had to assume the size, dimensions, or the shape of the Earth or the moon.
Why the fuck is he talking about assumption? We know we're on a globe, you stupid fucking idiot.
Well, it's also that wonderful website that he's got in front of him, which allows him to make those predictions.
Which is based on what? Sorry, what? I'm sorry, what is it? Is it a flat earth fucking model? I don't think it is. It's not a fucking pizza-shaped fucking dinner plate, pancake, whatever the fucking shit you want to call it. It doesn't work, pal. It works on one model. What is it again? Please, someone on the panel remind me. What fucking model do we use to make these predictions?
Aimee.
Oh,
I don't know.
You're scientism.
Come on.
The globe. And in fact, I've got here a link that should be of some illumination on this. I wonder if I can post it here in the chat. No, it won't let me. Can someone mod me in the chat for the?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So as soon as I get modded here, I'm going to try to post this link to. Oh, I'm not modded yet. Okay. Well, let me preface this by saying what it is. So this is the Canon of Eclipse. It's a German publication, so it's written in German. But you don't need to read German to understand what it shows on the page that I'm linking to. Let's see if that worked. That should have worked. I think it did. Yes, it did. So this takes you directly to the page where in the 19th century, it predicted the eclipse that just happened the other day. 2019 XII is Roman numeral for 1226. And it shows the annular solar eclipse and the path of that annular solar eclipse. Now, of course, it's projected out here onto a flat map, but it was calculated with the globe model, of course. And yes, you have to understand what the distance of the moon is and the angular size of the moon in order to predict, first of all, whether it's going to be an annular solar eclipse where it's a dashed line or a total solar eclipse, which I believe are the solid lines on this. And yeah, it's accurately predicted there, even in the 19th century, before we even had electronic computers. So yeah, it was predicted using the globe model. Show me a flat Earth model that accurately predicts the path of any future eclipse, especially, well, specifically here, a total solar eclipse or an annular eclipse. You won't find it. They can't predict the path of eclipses, of solar eclipses, where you have, this narrow corridor where you can observe it from. They simply can't do it on the flat model. It doesn't work. I have not seen any flat model that can predict the paths of eclipses. But I have seen it done even over 100 years ago by astronomers predicting eclipses that are still happening today. And you can go find this book in a variety of libraries. You can look it up. It's real, and it works.
The flat Earth map can't even predict the sunrise, let alone an eclipse. So.
Oh, God.
What is it? It's the Flat Earth Clock app or something like that. And saying, yes, the sun will be at this angle or whatever, will be rising over there. And there's people showing it going, well, it's fucking not. And they're holding it up with the camera going, yeah, it's well off. Yeah, but on a flat Earth, that's where it should be. Yeah, but the Earth's not fucking flat.
So, Ugly German Truths translated it here in the chat. Says the legend says solid line equals total, dotted line equals annular, mixed dash and dotted equals total annular eclipse, which I think is probably a hybrid eclipse. Sometimes it will start as one and then turn into another during the eclipse because the moon's distance is actually changing over time, even during the course of the eclipse. And wouldn't you know it, the globe model can predict when that happens.
Yay, us.
Oh, that's good, man.
It is. Anyway, I'll quickly do call. Oh, God's sake, I don't know. Yeah, that'll do. $2 was that? Oh, you can only see one symbol here. It sounded better with the Pink Floyd music in the background.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you very much for that, Squire. If anyone else wants to hear some awesome music, you know what to do. I can't say that, can I? Never mind. Ignore me.
Well, if you want to hear some awesome music, you just have to come to Poker and listen to the intro. Come on.
Indeed.
Yes, that is awesome. And on speaking of Poker this week, we've got an exclusive video on Poker this week, so that's going to be really goddamn awesome music-wise.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Ooh.
It's going to be brilliant, man. The band themselves absolutely rock, man.
They do.
Absolutely
they really
rock.
do.
Really good. And they're on tour in the UK next year.
Next decade. Because I can.
Yeah.
Anyway, as awesome as poker is, let's get back to Gigantor.
Indeed.
Movement of the Earth. It is simply done by making observations throughout the year, and where you can then see quite clearly when the paths of the sun and the moon will cross. That's all anyone has ever done. No one throughout history has ever had to assume that we're on a globe. In fact, the only reason we have to assume or perceive that we live on a globe is because we have had this decision to put us in a heliocentric model, which I've explained in an earlier video, is due to what I believe is the introduction of the Gregorian calendar, a solar calendar. So with that solar calendar, we have a heliocentric model pushed out at around the same time in the 1500s. And because of this decision to put the sun at the center of this timekeeping method or this model, we are forced to perceive the Earth as a rotating globe. It's the only way that you can justify night and day in a heliocentric model.
Because that's fucking reality. You've just explained reality.
Yeah, I mean, it's
that's because that's what we fucking see. You stupid fucking idiot! Come on.
Well, that's the thing. It's that you are. It's an assumption. No, it's not. We fucking measured it millennia ago.
Yes.
That's one, and two. You are forced into heliocentrism because that's the only way you can explain night and day. No. Night is not possible on a flat Earth. It's simple as that.
No. Well, I mean, Mr. Sensible did a brilliant video earlier on Eric Dubé talking about, and Eric Dubé actually denies that there's, sorry, going off topic, but actually denies that there's 24 hours of daylight in Antarctica. It's like, what? Because obviously it wouldn't work on that fucking pizza-shaped piece of shit they throw at us. But, yeah. I mean...
It's very scary how they get these things out. Yes, we must assume this. No, we don't. It's just that's how things work.
I mean, yeah, we've got great minds throughout history, like Aristarchus, that, you know, sort of was the first one to really prove that the sun was obviously very big and a long way away. He was a little way out on his fucking measurement, but he still got that idea right, you know, that it was a long, and then obviously he's gone out of my head. Who stuck the two sticks in the ground?
Eratosthenes.
Yeah.
Eratosthenes, that's it. Yeah, Eratosthenes. You know,
well,
these people.
The I mean, they'll say that Eratosthenes assumes, you know, distant sun and everything, but yeah, okay. In that description, you are making an assumption that the Earth is a sphere, and you're making the assumption that the Earth is distant enough for the rays to be approximated as parallel, but you just add a third stick, and then that assumption becomes justified. It's no longer an assumption.
Bingo. Thank you. I was hoping you would point that out about, yeah, sure, it's one thing when it's just two observers, but when you start adding a third and anything beyond that, well, now you've gone and wrecked the flat Earth hypothesis.
Yeah, precisely, because then you can start testing different models, and then the best fitting model is the best model. Now, it would be, you know, in a very formal approach, it would be wrong to say that it proves that the Earth is spherical, because, you know, it doesn't prove that. It just disproves every other possible geometry. If there is some sort of geometry that we're not aware of, and then we haven't been able to think of, that could explain these results, yeah, fine.
Exactly.
But,
a bit like the position to the planet. You know, if you move away from the North Pole, it's sort of like it drops in the horizon. It can only be consistent with a spherical fucking planet, man.
Indeed.
But Rickles, I haven't switched to hard liquor, but I've had a couple of fucking beers.
That's why he's so
wrong with that. I think
unbearable.
most of us
But I
have.
mean, come on, let's face it. Fucking hell, man. If I didn't, then I'd be lying to you all. I'd just be Jutmonk the Monkey. I mean, what do you want? Jutmonk the Monkey? Or do you want fucking Jutmonk the fucking drunk monkey, you fuck stains? All of you. I love
As long
all
as you
you
keep drinking,
stains, I
as long
really
as you
do.
keep drinking what you're drinking, mate, so you can keep your bearings.
Safe as fuck.
Hold on. I just saw something pop up in the green room here from the Casual Space Bar.
Yes,
Oh,
he's
Rocky,
got
man.
a premiere a bit later, so
It's got a premiere a bit later.
We'll let
indeed.
people know about that. We've also got a few bits from Aimee we need to go through.
Would you like to jump on and say hello?
Yes, please. I'd like to. Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking to Spacebar?
Well, yeah, man.
You do your comments while he messages.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, thank you. Colon says, and this video is really special because he doesn't even address the fact that he's using a wrapped map. Thor Logic of the Gods says Phuket Turd is what my grandfather would have referred to as a yard of pump water. Copernicus Thinker says, hey, did you notice that Patricia Steer is returned? Well, sort of. And then Thor Magic of the Gods again with a flurfer can't even predict what's going to happen when they flick a fucking light switch. Sorry, Matt. Caddyshack Wizard says he measured the goddamn Earth, took pictures of it, and it's not enough for these fucktards. I gotta say it quietly because he's gonna yell at me again. Ash Scott says Nick never mentions that he's a Bible literalist. When you try to hide your religion because you know it will destroy your credibility, surely that teaches you something about how fake your own faith is. That's the end of the comments.
I love the comments we get on here. You guys are absolutely awesome. And just a shout out to the chat. There's quite a few new names I don't recognize. Welcome to all of you. Any comments you want reading out or anything you want to see, just tag at the Shills and Aimee will get round to read them out for you and we'll try and fit them in as best we can. So we've got about 8 minutes of this video left. We better crack on with it. Otherwise it'll be like we'll miss Spacebar's premiere. No.
I want to make one more comment here though, before we move on, in case he doesn't come back to it. He claimed, I believe, that no one in history has ever predicted a total eclipse using the assumption that the Earth is round. Well, I assume by that he means the round Earth model, which is totally false. And I can personally prove that because before the Great American Eclipse in 2017, I did this video predicting said eclipse using my own calculations and projecting it on Google Sky, but calculated using the globe Earth model, assuming that the Earth is round, assuming that it is the size that it is. That's how I generated the points along the path of that eclipse and how that eclipse would appear to move over time. I couldn't have done that without plugging into the calculations the size and shape of the Earth, which I did. So he's completely wrong in claiming that it hasn't been done and that all we do is we look at the path of the sun and moon on a map and we say, okay, here's where it's going to line up and therefore an eclipse will happen. That's not how that works. We actually do quantitatively predict exactly the length of time, the path of the eclipse, all of those factors using mathematics and using the globe Earth model.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like he's saying no one's been able to predict it using that. He is looking at a prediction using that exact model. What does he really think that for every point on that map there's measurements and there's then predictions based on that measurements, and that's all done empirically rather than analytically? That's exactly what I was trying to make out earlier. It's just fucking insane. It's like, yeah, the predictions that you're getting, mate, are used by what modeler was it again? Fuck. Yeah, I can't remember, but yeah, because on timeanddate.com you can enter your latitude and your longitude and everything, and I think it's to you can enter your coordinates to the 5th decimal place or something, and it will spit out a very exact prediction of what's going to happen. But do you think that for every 10,000th of a degree they've done measurements and they're constantly taking measurements to figure out when that is happening and using empirical methods rather than just going, oh, here's a couple of equations. It's not that many. It's pretty straightforward.
I'll tell you what, though. There is one way that you could do it, right? What you could do is you could get 2 hammers and a golf ball, and then you could juggle the two, and then just say that it's actually calibrated on the fucking plane of existence, and there you have it. Globe.
When you first said get 2 hammers, I thought you were going to suggest he becomes a eunuch.
Well,
on that note, we need to get back.
I don't think that's what I need to forget.
Oh, enough flat balls.
Oh.
Back to the video.
Have to have a rotating spherical Earth for night and day to occur. But on a level, stationary Earth, night and day can occur just as easily, and you can also just as easily predict eclipses. Eclipses are certainly not exclusive to any model. In fact, it is the predictive nature of these observations, knowing when and where we will see these events occur, that allows mathematicians to create any model they like. The model really is just that. It's just making these earthbound observations and knowing the time, the place, and the location that these.
Yeah,
he's sort of saying kind of how it is, but then trying to contradict it. Do you know what I mean? It's I mean, obviously, to a model, because the model that we build around the data that we have, and the more data we have, the fucking better the fucking model. You know, the more predictive power it has, for fuck's sake. But I mean, it doesn't mean that we could just like, okay, then. Well, I mean, how the fuck is it putting it on a flat Earth? You can't even make a fucking eclipse work on a flat Earth, for fuck's sake. Let alone predict one. It doesn't even fucking work on a flat Earth. They don't know how far away it is. They don't even know if it's a fucking hologram, a hoax, a fucking shit out of my fucking anus hole. I don't know. They are so fucking confused with the fucking basic reality that we have absolutely fucking know is going on because of fucking science. What the fuck is wrong with you, stupid bunch of fucking pillocks?
Well,
who put a 50p in the monkey?
Yeah, but that's the thing, isn't it? It's saying you can perfectly well predict day and night on a flat Earth. It's like, no, you can't. Not without breaking Maxwell's equations. You simply can't. And if you're really going to argue the validity of Maxwell's equations, then you are fucked.
Well, did you pick up the word he used? Mathematicians.
Yeah.
But then the question is, are they really? Because that's my issue with the flat Earth. It's like it's not just the fact that it's clearly bullshit, but for it to work, then all of physics has to fall apart, right? Because if Maxwell's equations don't hold, then all of electromagnetism falls apart. What happens if what happens if if the laws of electromagnetism are slightly different? The whole universe falls apart. It is simple as that.
They wouldn't see that though, would they?
Everything falls apart. Absolutely nothing works whatsoever. I mean, the video I watched today of Eric Dubé fucking trying to explain the midnight sun, which is easily explained on a flat Earth because it just, spins around. But obviously when you get to, Antarctica, well, wherever you are on Antarctica, you should be able to see sunlight, shouldn't you? But, if the sun's around the other side of the fucking flat plane, you can't. Therefore, what the fuck? So Dubai then turns around and says, there's a treaty that says you can't go there, and any videos you see of Antarctica that is showing 24-hour sunlight is a fucking hoax because it doesn't happen in Antarctica. Well, I mean, for fuck's sake.
How would he know? He's not been there, and he doesn't believe any source that has been there. I think I heard Astronomy Live trying to get in before.
Crack on, bro.
Oh, well, first of all, I was going to thank you for pointing out the mathematician remark. I mean, a lot of this whole argument devolves to that. It's us versus them. It's trying to pit his followers against scientists, engineers, physicists, anybody who would have any knowledge of this and how to correctly calculate it is a mathematician, which is it's an emotional term to try to appeal to distrust of authority, right? Beyond that, I wanted to point out that even if you take a model like Walter, I think his name is Walter Bislin, and I'm sorry if I totally botched that, but he's got a website where he's got his own model that is fantastic, where he's done a fantastic amount of work coming up with a model which arbitrarily bends the light rays to match what we empirically observe as the day-night cycle on the Earth and the seasons and all that, to try to come up with a model that works on a flat Earth, just to show how ridiculous it is. First of all, there's no reason for the light to bend those directions anyway, but even if it did, even with this complicated post hoc sort of model, it still cannot predict the paths of total or annular solar eclipses. It can't do it, even under those conditions. And so I have not, and again, it comes back to, I have not seen a single flat Earth model that can make predictions about what's supposed to happen with these eclipses. He keeps trying to deceive his audience into simply looking at whether the eclipse happens or not, right? Did an eclipse happen today, or should an eclipse happen today, yes or no? Well, when we predict an eclipse, it's not as binary as that. It's actually about predicting the path of the eclipse, the timing of the eclipse, the exact corridor of where you need to stand to see a total solar eclipse versus a partial eclipse. There's a very narrow corridor, so if you get those calculations wrong, you're going to piss off a lot of people who drove, flew, or sat on a boat to go a long distance to see an eclipse that they missed because you calculated it wrong. So there are fairly high stakes in terms of the public reaction if you get it wrong. I have not seen a flat earther able to get it right. I have seen round Earth or globe Earth or the standard solar system model get right time and time again, and I've been in that corridor when it happened.
I'm muted. Very cool. But no, the day that the flat Earth comes up with a model that can at least predict how the sun pattern on the Earth would work, because looking at how they've got that now, I know it's a wraparound one and things like that. Just like, explain why the pattern's like that. Well, I can't. So,
Barman.
It's a special spot. Oh, go on.
These globe-denying fuckstains are not going to ever come up with anything at all. Do you get me?
Very true, mate.
Fucking nothing. Absolutely nothing works. I mean, even Australia debunks flat Earth. It's like there's just so much that just debunks flat Earth. Everything debunks flat Earth. So there is no flat Earth. That's why I call them globe-denying fuckstains.
As always, the globe-denying fuckstains. Right, we've not got long left. Let's crack on with this video, or we will be here all night. As much as I love Monkey's fuckstains comments, they're funny as fuck.
Celestial events will occur. That's it. That's the model. And how you want to perceive that or illustrate that is really up to you. The Earth can be moving, the Earth can be stationary, the sun can be moving along with the moon. And what we do in fact see with the moon is the same as we see with the sun. We see the sun go overhead every day, and we see the moon go overhead every day, except for a few days in the month when we have the new moon, and this is at this time when the moon is very closely aligned to the sun. So what I've done is I've taken screenshots of every day at noon from Phuket, or Phuket time, from the 26th of November leading up to the 26th of December. So this will give us an idea of the path that the moon takes in order to meet this alignment with the sun. And we'll see how easy it is then to predict when the eclipse will occur. And it doesn't have to, again, it doesn't have to have any bearing on the assumed size or shape or movement of the Earth. So another thing to keep in mind here is that what we'll see is the sun and the moon get farther and farther apart. And with a level Earth model with the sun and the moon doing orbits, all we have here is the moon doing a steady pace while the sun does a slight.
He is waffling. He is a waffling little. Go on, monkey.
Yeah, whilst we've paused this fucking idiot, right, our greatest fucking producer is going to move it on to the actual fucking evidence, which won't be anyway, because it's bound to be bollocks, because let's face it, globe denial is just fucking that. Bollocks. So, yeah, other than that, I mean, what a boring fucking twat. I mean, imagine going for a pint with this guy. I mean, Barman, you get a few at your bar, but I mean, this guy, Nicholas, a fucking ass.
Oh, I'd have to be drinking there just to put through it. I mean, he just waffles on. He's like, I've got these pictures. That sounds interesting. And now I'm going to spend the next however long telling you about these pictures.
Who wants to
show the pictures?
Fucking, do you know what? And that's why I can't be asked to fucking debunk some of his videos, because you go on there, it's like 48 minutes, and you're like, oh no, fuck that. Can't be asked.
Long videos like that.
Fucking, or an 8-minute fucking shot where I'll just go bosh, bosh, bosh. You're an absolute fucking twat. See you later there. I'll just fucking rub shit all in his face and then send it to him cherry wrapped with more fucking shite. Right from the monkey's anus.
Oh, lovely. Lovely.
I'm having a look through this video, and there is no pictures or videos that he actually puts up.
Oh, fuck off. The whole
there is a
point
graphic. And that's it.
Oh, for fuck's sake. You for real? So the guys.
Well, I say, my vote is to throw Phuket Word back into the sea, because he's told us about these pictures. He's going to show these pictures, but then he's not actually put the pictures in the video. In other words, he's being a cockwomble. Just an absolute
got nothing to show, then why listen to any more of that utter fucking bullshit that is dribbling from the anus hole that sits beneath his fucking nostrils? It must stink.
He didn't show us the pictures. What he's basically done is he started stroking and then decided he's just going to go have a beer instead. He's had a job he needed to fucking finish.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I think where he's going with it is he's going to go with, if I'm wrong, he sticks with just the time and date website that he's on, right? He just, does he show any more of that? Because I think that's picture.
All he shows.
That's all he shows. So I actually want to see it. I actually want to, even if you skip through kind of to the end, because I think he's going with it. And the thing I want people to pay attention to is that he's setting up a sort of straw man, or at least a red herring, of trying to predict when the eclipse will happen, the date on which it will happen, not the path. There's an important distinction there that I think people should pay attention to, because that is the thing that flat earthers can't predict. I'm not saying they can't predict the date where the sun and moon are going to line up and therefore an eclipse will happen that day. I'm talking about the actual path that the shadow makes across the earth. So forward to that part. I want to see how he gets there.
Okay. You are absolutely fucking bang on. Bang on. Because like you said, you know, you can watch something enough, record it, whatnot, but to predict the path, and that's what I always say, you know, not just when, but where and what type of eclipse. That's what you've got to predict.
Right, well, they chucked this on a couple of minutes just to see if he gets anywhere with it. There's a change in the graphic coming up as to what the hell he's saying on it. I'm saying nothing.
Oh.
Here we go, folks.
Is it going to be about ping pong balls?
To now come down and predictably so, meet the path of the sun, and we have our solar eclipse. All right, so if I just kind of play this back fast, you can see how it does that. Yeah, it's quite easy to see this predictive nature of that. Now, the sun has moved slightly. What I've done on this next slide is show the path that the moon took with these red dots. So we got where it started here on the 26th of November is right here, and then it went to the right here, and then came in on the left of this particular illustration here, and ended up on the 26th of December right here. So this black spot represents where the solar eclipse occurs. So you can see that it's kind of taken on this wave form, and it's going to follow a slightly different path.
So, but what model are you using again?
He's using a flat one because obviously it's flat on the screen. There's no globe there.
Oh, is that how it works? Is it? Okay, yeah, because it's on a two-dimensional fucking screen. Or was that even one dimension? I don't know. But fuck's sake, man, come on.
I think the more important point to mention would be, why does his moon pattern go in a nice little wavy thing like that? Is it something to do with its orbit on a globe or something? Because surely if it's just going round on a flat disc, it shouldn't do that.
No, I mean, absolutely fucking not. Nothing works from that. Absolute bollocks. And I tell you what, they're just doing my head in now. What is wrong with these fucking idiots? Seriously, man. Come on.
Oh, it's mental.
Yeah, man.
It's mental. So, Astronomy Live, is this the bit you were hoping him to show?
Yeah, and actually the bit just before that point where he shows the shadow, perhaps unintentionally, before he cuts to his red dot picture. If you noticed there, or if you could back up there, the shadow, if you notice, it's not the same, it's not co-located on the map where the sun and moon are on the map. Yeah, there you go, right there. If you can blow that up. That's what I'm talking about right there.
Give me two. Audio will drop for 2 seconds. And audio's back.
Perfect. So yes, notice the shadow of where the eclipse is occurring is north of where the moon and sun are. Okay, so it's not co-located with the moon and sun, and so he goes on and on and on about the moon's path being predictable on this so-called flat map. But obviously, this flat map is being generated based on an old model, which is how it's able to predict where that shadow is landing on the map. Notice it's not co-located with the sun or moon. It's not directly under them. It's not co-located with them. It's in a different location. That doesn't make any sense. This is the flat Earth right here. It makes perfect sense on the globe model, and that's how this prediction was generated. And that's why it can only be predicted. That path of the shadow can only be predicted on the globe.
I do feel daft that I didn't notice that, but when you take it as a globe on a tilt, that would be perfect. The simple things you don't notice because you're not looking for them.
That's that, man. Well, I reckon that's probably about the highlight of the video, to be honest.
Really? Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh,
Biggest part of where this side of Mombasa, I don't know why they keep on bothering. I thought this was going to wear out by now, but it isn't going away, is it?
It's not, unfortunately. we're stuck with these fuckers. We are stuck with them.
You know, like we got Lukey Boy, the Larry Lion, my mate, right? And he's like, I don't really want to just do flat Earth. And I'm like, no, mate, and I said, I've done a few other things, but like, this is what fucking brought us together, and this is what always pipes up. And let's face it, it is the dumbest shit we can laugh at.
It is. Well, between them and dinosaur deniers, they're fucking stupid as well.
Yeah.
Oh, but if that's the end of the video, I think we better start doing a wrapper, and then we can all head over to Sarcastic Spacebar's premiere video. I'll come to guess last, but as he's been a little bit quiet tonight, we'll go to Mr. Future Boy Anti-Flatter. How's it going there, mate?
I'm still trying to pick my brain off the ground since it leaked out listening to that fucking useless prick waffle on about fucking nothing.
Oh, you're welcome.
Fuck it. But no, it's been great having Astronomy live on, mate. It's not often we get someone on here with the amount of knowledge you've been able to throw at us. It's
fucking awesome.
Freaking spectacular.
No, thank you. I appreciate it, and I give all credit to my observational astronomy professor from college in terms of preparing me for things like this with doing the calculations by hand. And, 15 years ago when I was doing that in my undergrad, I didn't know why I was doing that. Why are we having to do this by hand? Computers can do it for us these days. But it gives you a really good fundamental understanding of why things work the way they do, why the sky moves the way it does, and what all of that means. So hat tip to my professor from 15 years ago. Thank you for the informative lessons.
Oh, it's very cool to pay attention to something and get the information to be able to then inform all of us. I'm very glad that you had a good college professor who's now gets to pass this knowledge on to us, and we get to learn stuff as well. Yay!
Ever learning, aren't we?
We're forever learning, never stop learning. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely brilliant.
Monkey, do you have a final rant for us?
Final rant?
Out?
Well, I mean, I could go on all night about these absolute idiots. I mean, there's a lot of stupidity out there, but I still am absolutely fucking baffled by globe denial. I mean, just the immense fucking amounts of evidence, and not just what NASA can give you, but what you can go out and look at for your fucking selves, including eclipses and boats going over the curve and a basic fucking sunset. I mean, take a photo. Hang on a minute, you're standing on this ground, and where's your feet? Yeah, they're below your head. Yeah, they are. So why is the fucking sun cut in half by the ground you're fucking standing on, you stupid dumb fuck? Because it's not small and local up there doing fucking circles above your head, you stupid ignorant fucking brainless fuckwit. Get a fucking grip on reality, have a look around you and fucking work it out. The globe is not fucking hard for anyone to see.
Thank you very much. Aimee, any final comments, hon?
Yes, you've got some good ones. We've also got Multi Tom Tom in the chat. Hello, Multi.
Oh, God.
Hey,
We've
Tommy,
done well
Tom,
for
Tom.
Flat Earthers tonight, haven't we?
Yeah. And John Raps has got to say it. He talks like one, but he even looks like a dick right there between his shoulders. Go on and try and then see that. That's what John Raps said. Oh my gosh.
Go on, keep it together, Aimee. Keep it together.
Sure, sorry. And then No Name says this is Jutmonk's therapy session. And Copernicus Thinker tells Multi Tom Tom if they'd based the tracker on a flat Earth, poor Santa would have smashed into the imaginary Antarctic wall. And then so we had some good ones.
Love it. Tatty, any words from you? I know you've been busy in the background with all the bits and bobs, but you've had to put up with this video more than us.
Oh yeah, believe you me, it doesn't get any better than the second, third, or fourth time of watching. This is phenomenal, even by old PW standards, man. That was bloody boring as all hell. Jesus. So as I say, I have to suffer it when I'm going through these picking these things, and I was remiss at the start because shout out to Colon for providing this one to me.
Oh, Colon, you have a lot
Oh, of course, it's Colon.
Colon is fucking amazing, man.
Yes, the man.
He's
brilliant, man.
A lot
of that guy.
Owe him, and he knows I know, and I'll buy him a drink one day.
Absolutely, man.
And then I'll give I'll give our closing words to Astronomy Live. Anything from you, mate, as a wrap-up?
Oh, I think I already had my mic drop moment, or the closest thing I'm going to get to it. But thank you for having me on, and appreciate it.
For coming.
Appreciate all the kind words, and glad I could share a little bit of knowledge tonight.
You've dropped those knowledge bombs. It's been goddamn awesome. Thank you very much for coming.
I tell you what, Victory has just dropped us $10 because Multi says the only real scientists. Lol.
Thank you very much for that. That will go towards the next round of equipment buying. Thank you again, everyone who's supported us for the last couple of months. It's been very much appreciated. I think we'll basically wrap up then. A big shout out to AB Science. He's had to step out. Mrs. Science has had a little bit of a tumble, and hopefully she'll be all better. They've got to run out to hospital and get that checked over. So all our best wishes to them. For everyone else, I think we have to finish, as we always finish our streams, with a bit of a tell cow.
Well, thanks. Everyone in the chat, love you, fucking all. You rocked, a lot of you. Absolutely awesome, brilliant, and that's why I'm fucking buzzing my tits off just watching all you lot in the chat. You're amazing. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you all. Everyone, hit the link. Go over to Spacebar. He's got a premiere, hopefully about to start. Hopefully we haven't missed it for him. Go and check that out. Check out Astronomy Live's channel if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button on that. We are the Shills. Thank you very much, and good night.
Catch you on the flip side.